In verse 22, it says, "Then Jesus came to Bethsaida, and they brought a blind man to him and begged him to touch him. So he took the blind man by the hand and led him out of the town. And when he had spit on his eyes and put his hands on him, he asked him if he saw anything. And he looked up and said, 'I see men like trees walking.' Then he put his hand on his eyes again and made him look up, and he was restored and saw everyone clearly. Then he sent him away to his house, saying, 'Neither go into the town nor tell anyone in the town.'" So here's this man that's blind. We don't know if this was cataracts, if this is something that developed over time, or if he was born blind from birth, like the man that was recorded of in John chapter 7. Either way, Jesus sees this man who is beyond physical help. Beyond physical help. Maybe you're like that tonight. Maybe you feel like, man, I've tried this, that, and the other thing, and there's no help for me. It's not true. God works where man ends. Our limitations, God is not limited by those same things. So when God comes to open the eyes of the blind, He said, "I will give recovery of sight to the blind," as He read that scroll from Isaiah. Jesus came to open the eyes of the blind, yes, literally, but also spiritually. To have your eyes open to spiritual things, because it says in Corinthians, 2 Corinthians 4 specifically, that Paul writes and says, "But even if our gospel is veiled or blinded to people, it is blinded to those who are dying in their sins. Because the God of this age, Satan, has blinded their sight so that they cannot see the glorious light of the gospel, which is Jesus Christ." So Jesus not only came to heal those that were blind, but to give sight to those that were spiritually blind, so that they might be able to see their need for forgiveness, to understand that they've sinned and fallen short of the glory of God. Jesus doing these miracles that we could tangibly see only acted as a testimony to the real, true purpose, the spiritual healing. It gave us a tangible witness that He was the Son of God. Interesting to note, and some people have this question. Maybe you asked this question as we read this in verse 26. He sent this man away who He just healed from being blind, and He said, "Neither go into the town nor tell anyone in the town." Don't tell anybody. You think like, why would He want to keep this on the chill tip, so to speak? Keep this on the down low. Why would He want to have this guy not tell anybody? Well, if you've asked that question, here's a few reasons that I think Jesus would have said this. One being that many times the crowds hindered Jesus from doing what He needed to do. They acted as an impediment. And if you wanted to move freely in an area, you don't go and say, "Hey, Michael Jordan's walking down the street," or "LeBron James is going to be at the mall." If you want to get through the mall without a crowd, then you don't make that type of announcement. Also, I would say that the crowd had tried to take Jesus by force and tried to make Him king and hoped that He would overthrow the government. We saw that happen as a theme through the Gospels, where they said, "This is the Messiah. Let's overthrow the Roman government." That wasn't His purpose. He wasn't about to try to stir up the crowd to take Him by force to make Him king. And then thirdly, I put down, it wasn't the right time, for He knew exactly when He would come into Jerusalem and He would fulfill His role as the Messiah, the Christ, the Savior of the world. So He had a game plan and He knew what He was doing.